Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Indeed, all praise and thanks are for Allah. We praise and thank Him, we seek His help and we ask His forgiveness. We take refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves and from our sinful deeds. Whoever Allah guides, no one can mislead, and whoever He leaves astray, no one can guide. And I bear witness that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah. He is one, having no partners. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and His messenger. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and upon his family and his companions. Amma ba'd, to proceed. Now, inshallah, I want to continue with this theme that we started a couple of months ago on success, really. Success as described in the Quran. Those of you who are here, you'll remember this, inshallah, that and it's very different. It's or significantly different from what we think of as success, because often the success that we think of is dunya success in this world. So if we become a millionaire, we think we're successful, or if we reach the top of our professions, we think we're successful. Or we pass all our exams or get the highest grades, we think we're successful. Now, again, we're not knocking those things, but those aren't necessarily the elements of success that are described in the Quran. And we went through some verses looking at what constitutes success as described in the Quran. I won't go through those again now. But we looked at this. And last month, I gave just one word of advice, wasn't it? It was one word to remember. And the word was, of course, iqra. Read. That was a bit of advice I gave. And I know that I can see, alhamdulillah, there's some young people here today because the school holidays. Yes, but really this is a very, very important bit of advice. Read, iqra. That's the first word that was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you see. Read. Now, it had a certain meaning for him in that context. He was in the cave of Mount Hira, you know, and the angel Jibreel alayhi salam came to him in the form of a man and told him to read. But for us, we can take it in its general meaning to read. Really, it's such an important part of our deen. But the reason I gave last time, or one of the reasons for us reading, and I was referring primarily, of course, reading the Quran. And I don't mean just reciting, yes, but reading with understanding, trying to understand and then implement. But one of the reasons I gave for this was that in the Quran we have descriptions of things which are beyond our perception, or beyond the perception of our senses. Beyond, like we can't, there are things, the ghaib, for instance, al-ghaib, yeah, the unseen, or that which is beyond sensory perception, which we can't feel or touch or see or smell or taste. We can't experience through our senses. So how are we going to have faith in those things? Because that's what we're told at the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. We have أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. You see that Alif Lam Mim, and then this book, no doubt in it, is a guidance for those who have taqwa. And then a description of that, the people of taqwa, there's الذين يؤمنون بالغيب. That's the first thing that's mentioned. Those who believe in the unseen, believe in the ghaib. How are we to believe in the ghaib? That's what we're saying. If we can't experience it through our senses, yes. And of course, we can't experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through our senses. We can't see Him or hear Him, yes, or feel Him. So how are we supposed to believe in things which are beyond our sensory perceptions? Well, the suggestion was read, because in the Quran there are descriptions. There are descriptions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He describes Himself. He reveals Himself through His words to us in the Quran. But there are also descriptions of Akhirah. There's descriptions of Jannah, paradise, yes, the garden, and descriptions of Nar, the fire, hellfire, you see. And so these things then, they can become greater realities, stronger realities, you see. So then we can believe in it, inshallah. Okay, so that was last time, so read. Now, of course, we're all aware the World Cup is over, the Football World Cup. Now in the community there's quite a spectrum. There are some people who maybe didn't even follow the results, yeah? And there are some people, yes, who watched every single match. Now that it's all over, yeah, we might, it's gone, hasn't it, really? Even those of us, say, who were really into it or were supporting a team, it's gone. Yes, how much feeling do we still have? Think how we felt about it at the time, if we were one of those people with really, and we don't have to just apply it to the World Cup, any game, any sport, yes, any amusement, entertainment. Think how much it means to us at the time. It means so very much, does it not? Yes, there are people shedding tears. People shed tears when their favorite team loses. And the excitement, when we've seen the excitement, yes, people get so excited. But then when it's over, what are we left with? Nothing, really. Distant memory now. It was only a couple of weeks ago, actually, but it's like distant, you see. But this is the nature of games and sport and diversions, you see. They mean so very much at the time, but when it's all over, what are we left with? Think about it. Even if, say, Morocco had won, yes, and they got close to getting into the final, imagine if they'd won the finals. I think, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we'd all be celebrating, yes? We'd all be celebrating, but for how long? How long would those celebrations have lasted? And how would it have affected our lives, you see? Now, why am I saying all this? Well, you see, the topic today, I think from the title that was given, the topic is like sport and play and diversions, you see. And in Arabic, there are two words which are used in the Quran a number of times. Laibun wa lahwun, you see. And laib is, you can say, play, sport, game, yes, and entertainment, these sorts of things, sport, play, game, let's say. And I would include, we've got the kids here, your PlayStation games, yeah, the computer games, the video games. Again, it means so very much, and it's so easy to get addicted to these things, even as adults, really, we can get addicted to these things. But anyway, that's laib, you might say. And also, lahwun is used in the Quran. And now lahwun has the meaning of diversion or distraction. Yes? And in fact, we mentioned this a couple of months ago when we were talking about things which take us away from akhirah success. You see, because we're so concerned with, like, for instance, piling up more and more. We mentioned this verse, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Al-Hakumut Takathur. And then the next verse, Hatta Zurtumul Maqabir. Al-Hakumut Takathur, like rivalry for piling up, for more and more, you see. Rivalry, competition for more and more distracts you. Al-Ha, you see, Al-Hakum. It distracts you. It's a diversion. And lahwun, same root, from the same root letters, that it means diversion or distraction. So we have laibun, and lahwun. Just remember this, and we'll keep it short today, inshallah. But just remember these two principles, laibun and lahwun. Okay, that game, play, sport, and lahwun, diversion, distraction. Now, as I say, something like the World Cup is of that nature. You know, it's both a game, a sport, yes, but it's also a diversion. I mean, one of the things, if we talk about people, I was asking people actually in preparation for this month's khutbahs, I was asking people, what is it that makes you so drawn towards the World Cup? And people say positive things as well. They say it's enjoyable. Of course it's enjoyable. There's pleasure and there's excitement. There's, yes, and some people, they admire the skill, there's beauty, all sorts of, they're not all negative things. We're not saying there's haram or, yes? But it is a diversion or a distraction. You know, we may have more important things to do. You know, there were people who were missing work just to watch a match. You know, pulling sickies or whatever, yeah, just to watch. Now, no one's going to say that it's more important to watch a game of football than it is to be working. But actually, and at the time, it feels that way. So these are diversions and distractions as well. Now here's the point of it all, and we'll end on this, inshallah. The point of it all, in some ways, is that in the Quran, laibun and lahwun are used in relation to the life of this world. The life of this world, hayatul dunya, is described in such terms. You see, for instance, we have in Surah Al-An'am, Surah number 6, you can look this up afterwards, inshallah. Surah number 6, I think it's verse 32, but actually that may not be, but you can look it up anyway, okay. But anyway, I'll mention the verse, inshallah. So it goes, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَعِبٌ وَلَهْوٌ وَلَلدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. You see, so what's being said is that the life of this world is but a sport, yeah, laibun and lahun is mentioned, a sport, a game, yes, and diversion and distraction. But certainly, the home of the akhirah is far better for you. Sorry, far better for those who have taqwa in that verse. Yes, those who have taqwa, those who are God conscious. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Will you not use your reason? See. So think about it. The life of this world is being described as play, sport, diversion, distraction. And that's what it is, because, you know, we know this, but we forget. This is just so temporary, isn't it, the life of this world? And just as now that the football has finished, it's gone, hasn't it? It's like almost a forgotten memory, or a distant memory, I should say. Yes? Similarly, the life of this world, all the things that constitute the life of this world, they will all be gone when we die. But it's the home of the akhirah. See, that is far better. Yes? Now, just to end, a couple of bits of it. One, again, read. Yes, this is how we will discover the reality. Not just the reality of the akhirah, by the way, not the reality of the unseen, which I was suggesting, but the actual reality of this world. You know, what it looks like on the surface, we know, often, but what the deeper realities are. You know? So, that's one thing, Iqra. And then in that verse, what does it say? أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Will you not use your reason? Don't you understand? Now really, if we use our reason, even with, say, the football, if we use really, how can this be so important? It is just a game, really, at one level. Now, of course, it takes on all sorts of meaning for us, and it has all sorts of pleasures and so on, but it is just a game. Yes, and similarly, the life of this world. If we think about it, we know it's temporary. We all believe, as Muslims, you see, we believe in akhirah. Or as, inshallah, as mu'mins, we believe in akhirah. We don't believe that this is all there is to it. You know, those who don't believe in akhirah, yes, they need to maximize their pleasures, you might think. But for us, it doesn't make sense, does it? So we need to use our reason, our intellect, yes? أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Okay, we'll stop there inshallah for today. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم.